So the world definitely favors and rewards being an extrovert. And as an introvert, it is frustrating, but honestly, I'm not mad. I just kind of accepted it. It's just, to be honest, I'm a little jealous. I'm a little jealous that the world rewards people that are extroverted and rewards them for doing things that is to their benefit. So I know this kind of sounds like a rant, but again, I'm actually really not angry about it. It's just, it is what it is. And I'll be honest, I hate saying this because I know a lot of people suffered during the pandemic, but during the pandemic, that was kind of reversed. And I did not find joy in extroverts having a tough time during the pandemic, but I definitely felt good about myself that I was able to thrive in that environment. But, anyways, maybe I'll talk about that in a bit, but kind of backtracking a little bit back to being an extrovert and why the world rewards them. So, when you're an extrovert, you really do care about people, or at least it seems that way. Because when you're extroverted, you go out, you talk to people, you visit people, you hang out with friends, you plan events, you do all these things that seem very selfless. And it is. It is actually. It is. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of, energy and time, money, things like that. But here's the thing. If those people are extroverted and they're doing those things, that's what comes naturally to them. And more than that, that's what they actually need to thrive and to get their energy. So actually, let me backtrack again and actually just start off what I mean by an introvert or an extrovert. I heard this definition and I really like it actually. It's not about being social. I think a lot of people confuse being social as if you're social, you're extroverted, and if you're not social, you're introverted. I don't think that's the case. I'll maybe talk about that in another video. But basically, it's all about how you recharge, basically. So for an extrovert, they recharge, they get their energy from being with people. An introvert gets their energy and recharges by being alone. In fact, being with people drain them. But the fact that an introvert gets drained when they're in a social setting doesn't mean that they're not enjoying themselves or that they don't like being social. So that's why I actually think you can be very social and an introvert. And by that same token, I actually think you could be very extroverted but not social for whatever reason. But, anyways, okay, so let me give you an example. Long day at work. Actually, how about this? A long week at work. It's Friday. You had a tough week. You've been working all week, 8 hours a day. You are exhausted. You come home, back to your apartment. What do you want to do? What do you need to do to recharge? An extrovert wants to see people and do things because that's how they recharge. So after that long week, Friday night, you know what? It's Friday night. I need to recharge. Let's call the boys and let's hit the town. Gather the troops, suit up, boys. Let's hit the town, hit the pubs. Let's talk. Let's meet people. And that's what will give them their energy back. Me, that actually sounds like a complete nightmare. That would be the worst thing for me to do. So as you can tell where I'm going with this, for an introvert, it's the complete opposite. Long day at work, long week at work. It's Friday. It's a long week. You come back to your apartment. What do you need to do to recharge? Nothing. You just want to be by yourself and recharge, watch a nice movie on Netflix, play a video game, read a book, maybe even have a quiet dinner with your partner, your wife, husband. But basically, you can see an extrovert wants to see people. That's what they want to do. That's how they get their energy. That's how they recharge. And an introvert wants recharges by being alone. That's my definition of being an extrovert and being an introvert. I heard that definition once. I didn't make that up, but I love it. I think that's very accurate. I am very introverted. Very, very introverted. But back to the topic of this video. So the world rewards people that are extroverted. And again, that's just the way the world is. I'm not angry about it. It's just, maybe a little frustrated at times, but it is what it is. I'm actually not I'm not one of these angry introverts. I'm actually not. I'm actually, just sleepy. That's all. But, so here's what I mean. Let's take a person. Okay. Let's call him, I don't know, extroverted Ed. Okay. So extroverted Ed, very extroverted. And because of that, he does a lot of social things. He talks to everyone at work. He hangs out with people after work. He visits friends and family. He calls up people. He text messages people all the time. He calls people. He visits family. He'll travel just to meet friends. He packs his evenings and his weekends seeing friends, attending to friends, checking in on people, going to parties, things like that. And on the outside, you look at extroverted Ed and you think, good for him. What a great person. What a kind person. Look at how much he gives of his time. What a great person. Which is true. I'm not negating that. However, what people don't realize is he's extroverted. This is natural for him. In fact, he gets energy doing this. In fact, if he just stayed at home and not seen people and not message people and not do all this, he would actually not feel good. So he's doing something that's kind of natural to him. And fortunately for him, the world praises that. The world likes that. That's what, extroverted Ed is considered a great person. Look at all the great things he's doing. But now you have introverted. What's a name that starts with an I? I actually don't know. What's a little sidebar? Is there a common name that starts with an I? I'm trying to think here. Okay, well, I think Eileen, but Eileen starts with the E, I think. But anyways, we're gonna go with introverted Eileen. Okay, so now you have introverted Eileen. Through no fault of her own, doesn't really see a lot of people, doesn't really keep in touch, doesn't talk to a lot of people at her work or goes out of her way to hang out with them because it's tough for her. A simple text message is exhausting, a conversation is exhausting. Just naturally, she's introverted. And unfortunately for her, the world does not reward that. So she's viewed upon as selfish and, doesn't want to give her time, maybe doesn't like people. But really, that's not the case. She's just doing what's natural to her. So you have two scenarios, or more two people. Extroverted Ed and introverted Eileen. both are just doing what's natural to them. And in one case, one is praised and the other is looked down upon. So that's what I mean by, the world kind of rewards extroverted people. Unfortunately. Again, I'm not angry about it, it is what it is. So kind of a side or kind of a related thing to that too is when an introverted person does do something equal to when an introverted person does something equal to an extroverted person, they don't get praised. They get praised the same, but what people don't realize is for that introverted person, it really took a lot out of them. But again, the world doesn't see it like that. So let me give you an example. Say, let's pretend introverted Eileen and extroverted Ed both work at the same office. And everyone's saying, hey, listen, we're all going to go out Friday night. We're all going to go to the bar. This will be great for the team, great for team morale. Let's go to the bar. It'll be great. Extroverted Ed, without question, of course he's going. Introverted Eileen, they're like, come on, you should come on out. This will be good. And introverted Eileen is thinking, it's Friday night. I just want to stay at home in my cozy apartment and read. But she forces herself to go. It takes a lot of effort. And even while she's there, it's exhausting. It tires her out. Again, it's not that she's not enjoying it. She may have a great time there, but it drains her. It takes so much out of her. And at the end of the night, they both get praised equally. Ed, thanks so much for coming. Eileen, thanks so much for coming. And there you go. However, Ed didn't have to put any energy into that night. In fact, he wanted to go. In fact, he needed to go. He's an extrovert. That's how he recharges. He loved going. It wasn't tiring for him. And everybody thinks, wow, Ed's great. And even with Eileen's great, but they don't realize how much more exhausting an effort it was for her to be there. Again, the world rewards being extroverted as a default. Now, I do want to mention this. I mentioned this kind of at the beginning of the video. The pandemic, and again, I hate talking about this because I do 100% recognize that a lot of people suffered, during the lockdowns and things like that. And I don't celebrate that. But for a brief period in time, it was actually the reverse, where the world rewarded being introverted. So I'm not celebrating that people that were extroverted had a tough time, but I can celebrate for myself that I had it easy, I guess. During the pandemic, it was the reverse. You were rewarded for being introverted. We want you not to go out. We want you to stay at home. We don't want you having parties. So for once, I kind of felt that reward in the sense that I didn't do anything differently. I did everything I usually do, which was just stay home and not throw parties and not go out. And I was rewarded for that. Wow, good for you. You're really doing so well. You're following all the stay-at-home orders. Good for you. You're a good person. And in my mind, I was like, I actually am just doing what's natural for me. And for once, an extroverted person had to do something that was difficult for them in order to get that social reward. Again, I'm not celebrating that, but it's just kind of funny that during the pandemic, that kind of flipped on its head. But that was many, many years ago. So now we're kind of back to square one where the world rewards being extroverted. Anyways, that's just kind of a late night, sleepy train of thought. I don't want to call it a rant because, again, as I said, I'm not angry about it. It's just, it is what it is. Just an observation of mine. And yeah, I know a lot of people that are extroverted, great people. I admire them. I'm actually a little jealous of them. I think I'd have a lot more easier time if being around people did recharge me, because then I can get all those social rewards with very little effort. But, you know, it is what it is. Anyways, yeah, that's my thoughts for tonight.